Good morning, everyone. Good
Morning.
afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon now.
Wherever you are, I'm talking with Laura Force Scruggs. It is January the 3rd of 2021. I don't think it's yet hit me that it's 2021.
No.
I know, right?
Mm-mm.
Um, and it's a beautiful day in the North Woods of Wisconsin. We're
Mm.
above freezing for the first time
Hey,
in a
always good.
while. I know, right? The only bad side of that is that we'll have black ice tonight, but um,
Mm.
I know, but it's sunny, and so that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
anyway, so tonight we have something called Famous One Acts, and
Yes.
yeah, we're gonna feature four plays by George Kaufman, Susan Glaspell, A. Milne. Yes, that A. Milne
Mm.
and Oscar Wilde. Four very different one act plays,
Yes.
and going to be about an hour running time.
Mm.
And I think you're going to be intrigued by the four
Mm-hmm.
very different voices in these plays. It's from a book called Favorite One Acts, which is edited by Bennett Cerf, and we've been
Yes.
working on them for about a month. So I hope you'll enjoy that and tune in
Yeah.
tonight, 6:30 Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
And then next Saturday, we're going to, um, premiere for us Heart of Fairy by Laura. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today, just to whet your appetite for next Saturday's play. So, Laura, tell me, we've worked on Emissary and Punk Grandpa and a number of your plays. So, how is this play similar to or different from what we've seen so far?
Oh, yes. Well, I think, we've got in common with a lot of my plays, mention of fairies, of course, as you know from the title. Um, Also, it's a little darker than
Mm,
some of my other work. It's probably my darkest, I would say.
okay.
Dark fairy
Okay.
tale.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you felt like you needed to go there with this play.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
Think
talk about that a little bit?
yeah, it's about loss and a certain kind of loss that often isn't talked about, due to shame, or people may not know until it happens to them how common it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's different for everyone, and then there are some similarities that many people experience. And so I was very fortunate to get to share this story, for the first time at Three Cat Productions here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Director Jason Saltzman said, "Yeah, Laura, I think this is a story you need to tell right now."
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And Emissary deals with loss too. Um,
Definitely.
yeah. So, what is it you think using otherworldly characters like elves and dark fairies and fairy grandmother Funful? What does that allow you to do as a playwright with this heavier material, with this gravitas?
Yeah, I think it makes it more palatable for the audience. And yeah, it can work on a couple levels, more in what it would be like in the fairy realm. Even if someone wouldn't know what loss I'm referring to exactly, it could work on that level as well. And then also as an allegory, or a parable for human loss.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just a different way of looking at it. I think it makes it easier. And well, I just, I mean, I would identify as a fairy more than a human, probably. For
Do
me,
you
it's
do
easier
you
to
have
speak
your
in that
wand
language.
handy? Do we have you have your
I
wand
do,
hand?
Parker. I brought it just in case you asked.
Oh, fantastic! I love that wand. I love that wand.
And
Yeah. Anytime I can get that into the show. Um.
and to further answer the question too, something I've read about fairies, according to Dora Van Gelder in her book, The Real World of Fairies. She says
Mhm.
that there are only degrees of play for fairies, that everything they do, they take pleasure in, and everything is useful.
Mhm.
And that they have, instead of a lot of creatures that have natural enemies, that they have
Mhm.
natural friends. So this is
Mhm.
very appealing to me. And so I've been able to relate to that as I write.
Okay. Okay. Um, the use of, and you mentioned the word allegories.
Mhm.
Um, and we think about children's stories and how children relate to loss and tragedy.
Mhm.
And so, do you think that for adults, there's still a part of us that kind of defaults to that way of relating to tragedy and loss?
I think so. It's something familiar that we can relate to. Yeah, I think so. I think for a lot of people. Some people
Hmm.
might resent it, and I understand it's not for everyone. But
Okay.
I think that in our deepest selves, I think there's something there still.
Okay.
You know, how a lot of times when people, as we get older, I think that we um, reminisce about our childhood, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think it
Hmm.
we can relate to it.
So tell us the story. Tell us about how Heart of Fairy got started, what the evolution has been, and if you could tell us a little bit, tell the audience just a little bit about the story.
Yeah. So I was talking with the director of Three Cat here in Chicago, Jason Paul Smith, and he said he wanted to produce my play Magic of Lady M.
Hmm.
Said, or you could write something new. I mean,
Hmm.
what more can an artist ask for? So
Right.
you can do your work, or you can just do whatever you want. So
Everyone.
I
Yeah.
said, well,
Right.
I can't thank him enough. Given the choice,
Yeah.
I'll do something different, do something new. So that's how it began. And I knew I wanted to do something about fairies and what it means, excuse me, to be a fairy, and decided to write about something I know too well, a certain loss that I experienced.
Hmm.
So I was very thankful to have the opportunity to explore it,
Hmm.
and with a group of people that really, really understood.
Hmm. At Three Cat.
Hmm.
Three Cat's been amazingly nurturing and supportive of you and other playwrights.
Yes,
Um,
many, many, many. It's all new work. You'll never see something you've already seen and
mhm.
go there.
So
Hmm.
the process as you were writing this, you were going through the loss. You were
Yeah,
re-exploring that. What does that feel like for you as a playwright? And when can you keep going and when do you have to stop?
it was a real struggle. We
Yeah.
worked on it for about a year on and off, but really most of it was written the last month. Jason helped me a lot, giving me
Mhm.
prompts, giving me ideas for the premise of the scenes,
Mhm.
of how to explore it. So I think you, I don't know, it was with like that with Punk Grandpa too. It took me several years to be able to write about him. I
Mhm.
think it's different for everyone, and um, I was ready to try, and I'm glad it worked out. It's possible I could have just not been able to really carry it out, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, I had a supportive team and an intuitive director who knew what I needed and was supportive. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Some really beautiful lines in the play.
thanks.
So talk about the story. Talk just a little, maybe a teaser for the story of Heart of Fairy.
Mhm. Yeah, so we know from the beginning that Sparkletasia, the lead in the play, is a misfit. When she was born, she was so big, she barely made it out of her mother.
Mhm.
Her mother dies, and it happens a lot in children's fairy tales. One of
Mhm.
the parents dies,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and from there, she doesn't fit in with any of her peers. She has many failed romances.
Mhm.
Then she meets a dragon. So it's definitely a romance, and So yeah, the first half is pretty happy, and then the second half gets much darker and
Mhm. Mhm.
is not happily ever after. But in the end, the destiny she was going for, she finds that didn't happen, but who she was truly meant to be all along, she does discover.
Yeah,
The prize.
My favorite Rolling Stones song, right? You can't always get what you wanted,
Yes.
but sometimes you find you get what you need.
Yeah.
Or as they say, experience is what you get when you don't get what you wanted or
Mhm.
thought you wanted.
Mhm.
What is it that through all, and there are many characters in this play. Let's talk about some of the characters. Let's talk a
Mhm.
little bit about Sparkletasia, Fairy Godmother, the Dark Fairies. Tell me about this universe of characters. Can you introduce us to some of them?
Yeah.
Fairy Godmother. Let's start with Fairy Godmother
My
first.
godmother is very much like Sparkletasia. A little hint. Um, someone who is, rather like an ant in the human world, I would say.
Hmm.
Someone who is always there for Sparkletasia. In this play, encouraging her to not feel shame when she does what she needs to do. When
Hmm.
she needs to go on potions.
Hmm.
You probably know what that means compared to the human world.
Right. Right.
How to comfort her and
Right.
find her true self.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Sparkletasia.
Yes, definite misfit. Wants to be married and have children. Status quo.
Hmm.
But things go differently than she planned.
Hmm.
And how she comes to find her true calling.
Hmm. What do you think? This isn't the first time we've met misfits in your plays.
Yes.
And it's not the first time we've met the dark fairies, and you're thinking of the magic of Lady M and what witches can do, as well as dark
Mhm.
fairies. Talk to us about what is it that misfits can teach us, and also, some people use the word object a minute ago, and maybe you've heard objections about the witch piece or the darkness. What is it that bringing in witches or dark fairies or misfits can teach us as an audience?
Mhm. I think everyone can relate to not fitting in at some point,
Hmm.
and to not be afraid to be different,
Hmm.
and that they can help us see things in a new way, in a different way, um, and that it's okay. And yeah, I think you just gotta do what you gotta do, you know? And, that's what the misfits are they're just trying to be themselves. That's all they're doing. They're not a lot of times not trying to call attention to themselves and are surprised when they are. And they don't think that they're weird.
Hmm.
So I think for us to all appreciate the differences in ourselves, as also indicated by Adam Hirst in his monster play, Matthew Three-Horn,
Hmm.
talking about really,
I've been thinking about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
really celebrating each other's differences. That it's a good thing. We can help each other because we all have different abilities.
Hmm.
And so together we can do, I want to say anything, but we can do a lot. We can together we're better than alone. I think we were created for relationship and to help each other.
I was listening to one of my writers sent me a interview with the writer Barry Lopez, and he with Bill Moyers, right, the wonderful Bill Moyers.
Hmm.
And Bill Moyers has been exploring language, poetry, literature for decades now, and he seems to really bring out interesting points with his audience, with
Hmm.
his interviews. Anyway, Barry Lopez has a bookshelf of books about the natural world and his experience with it, and he said if a culture is unwilling to encounter and explore its
Mhm,
dark side and is only willing to look at beauty, whatever that may be, right? Beauty and light. He said there is a great loss there.
yes.
And if you're not willing to stand still with and accept and recognize that darkness, whether it's a dark fairy, a
Mhm,
witch, the dark side of yourself, which of course every really character's journey is about that, ultimately
mhm.
externalized in a world that the writer creates. You know,
Yeah,
it's slaying that inner dragon. And
yes.
and so he talked about that. It was really so well said. And I thought, boy, that's right.
Mm,
Not will if we're only willing to look at the vaulted and the celebrity and the beautiful and not the homeless and the poor and the sad and the broken and the mentally ill, we lose on that. We lose something with
so
that,
much.
you know,
So much.
and it's not realistic.
That's right.
Um, and I think that what the play accomplishes as well, and is when we do that with ourselves, when we ignore or deny some part of ourselves,
Mm,
there has to be an alignment at some point. There
mhm.
has to be a realignment, and we definitely see that journey in this play.
Thanks. It also reminds me of my favorite teacher, Dan Tobby, who you've met, he did
Hmm.
of his plays as well. And when I was taking his directing class, he was saying he loves dark plays because then in them you have to find the light, you know? And I
Hmm.
think that right now too, with things being so dark, it's like if you go as low as you can, the only way
Hmm.
you can now go is up, you know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think that, yeah, there's real value to that. And something good can come out of the horribleness.
Hmm.
Not that I understand why the horribleness happens, but that we can find good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you like the audience to? Is that what you want them to take away, or is there anything more you would like them to experience next Saturday?
Hmm.
Think about.
I think that would be one of the main themes. Yeah, to find the good when tragedy strikes, and to explore the magic we can find in the everyday,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, bearing each other's burdens and just exploring again a loss that often isn't talked about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. We're talking with Laura Forrest Scruggs about one of her newest plays, Heart of
Mhm.
Fairy, and we're going to be producing it next Saturday live on Facebook and YouTube. So Saturday, January 9th. Tonight we're featuring Famous One Acts by Oscar Wilde, A. Milne, Susan Glaspell, and George Kaufman for very different short plays from a collection called 24 Favorite Plays, edited by Bennett Cerf. And we'll hope that you'll join us for both. The show times for both are 6:30 p.m. Central Time.
Mhm.
And we've got, as usual, some phenomenal actors
Yes.
tonight, including Peter Quinones,
Mhm.
and Rachel Hirsch and Angelina Mussro and Pete Blatchford and Jack
Yes.
Levine.
Yes. I'm
So they're
looking
going to be
forward to it
bringing,
tonight.
yeah, they're going to be
Mhm.
bringing these four very, very different, from the absurd to the I don't know what to call Mr. Wilde's play. The play that we're reading of Oscar Wilde's tonight is actually a fragment that was never finished,
Mm.
but it's a fascinating fragment. Yeah,
Mm.
but we would call that, let's call that poignant and engaging.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what are you're working on a play for Three Cat again? Yeah.
Mhm.
You want to talk a little bit about that historical
Yeah.
play?
Yeah, so it's about Jane Addams,
Mm-hmm.
and her work with children at the Hull House in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it'll be part of the New Work Festival now this year, now that we're in 2021, coming up soon. So, yeah, I'm my 5th draft of that, and I focus on a few different areas because she did so many things. Founded the Women's Peace Party. She's a founder of the NAACP. She fought for children's rights,
Mm-hmm.
with workers in the factory. So focus on that, as well as her being the first woman garbage inspector.
Mm-hmm.
And she and her volunteers built the first playground in Chicago. So
Mm-hmm.
focus on those 3 areas, how they affected the kids. And it
So that.
began as being called Jane Addams, the most dangerous woman in America. That's what the FBI called her. And
Yeah.
now at this time, a current working title is Jane, Mother of Us All, or Are We All Jane's Children? Which a child actually said at her funeral.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying working on that.
Okay. And that's going to premiere this year at 3 Cat.
It was scheduled to be part of this season. Tentatively, it's being scheduled for next year,
Okay.
being delayed due to COVID. So
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, there will be another production of theirs in the fall, COVID permitting. They may be reviving their Diamond Lil play about the pansy craze in Chicago. Very uplifting musical review. Yes, I saw it last time it happened. I saw it twice. I wanted to see it again. Now it's coming back. So very
Okay,
happy play
cool.
to come back if COVID permits. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Well, this could be quite a different year.
Yes.
Um, and live theater could very well be back.
Yes.
So we can hope.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, we can hope. And anything else you're working on?
I just finished a short play about my nieces. Um, and it also is based on a couple of boys that I was a nanny for a little while. So it
Mm-hmm.
was just probably an afternoon at their aunt's house, and again, there are lots of fairies in it, and just funny things that my nieces have actually said, and like the little boys I worked with actually said, like "Glory to God" in the hummus, and they're praying. My niece Emily Amber, one time she was coloring and they started praying and she closed her eyes like she was asked to, and she kept coloring, during the prayer. So just things like that. And yeah, I'm continuing to submit to as many places as I can. And
Any news on that front? Do you have some news?
um, well, now Punk Grandpa is scheduled to be produced again this year, in Chicago by Dab Jazz Fran Productions,
Fantastic.
Entertainment. They also call themselves Dreamers YOLO in the
Mm-hmm.
northwest side of Chicago. It's on Lincoln near Foster.
Mm-hmm.
So that is scheduled to happen in summer or fall, COVID permitting. So I'm very excited about that. Um, and my play Emissary is on the Barely Seen website right now, and then it'll
Very good.
be featured with Mad Women in the Attic. I'll be a featured writer with them in the summer.
Okay.
And oh, and Punk Grandpa will actually also be a part of the Elder Project with Mad Women in the Attic on their website coming up soon.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
A lot of good news.
there's stuff to look forward to. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're thankful for all of that.
Two things I'll say too. I want to say before we finish.
Yeah.
One, um, if you're watching this and you have not gone to Chicago as a theater destination, oh, you're denying yourself such a great pleasure, because Chicago is a phenomenal theatrical destination, and you will have more than enough theater. Once the doors reopen, you will have a rich, rich, rich experience in Chicago with improv, theater, music, opera, art. I mean, it's just a great city. And I think sometimes we forget what a theater city Chicago is. I was
Mhm.
lucky to have 10 years of seeing plays pretty much every
Mm.
weekend.
Yeah,
um, uh, and marathons and phenomenal from storefront theaters to the Goodman and Steppenwolf and Second City. And you just treat yourself, treat yourself
mhm.
to a trip to Chicago and support some of the little theaters if you can, because your support means so much
Yes.
to little theaters that sometimes you walk in and more people in the audience than on stage. Excuse me,
Yeah.
more people on stage than in the
Yes.
audience. And then secondly, what I want to say that Laura has been just a joy to work with. And if you need not that Laura needs more for her busy schedule, but if you want to find out how to do it right to be a playwright, talk to Laura,
Oh, Parker, that's so
because
kind.
Laura is gracious, she is open, she is grateful, she is kind, and it is always a pleasure to work with her. And here's the other thing I see with Laura: she actually actively supports other playwrights and other projects, and for no reason other than because it's the right thing to do and the spirit of it. And that's the kind of modeling that I love to see when somebody says, "You know what? I'm going to go to your production and I'm going to advertise your production and I'm going to speak highly of your production." That's how we're going to build when we talk about a theatrical ecosystem, right? Because that's the buzz now, right? A
Mm.
healthy theater ecosystem with BIPOC representation and equality and no
Mhm.
harassment. The other
Yeah.
thing we need to do as artists is support each other, because it's really hard to argue for external support when we're not supporting internally.
Mhm.
And Laura is just watch Laura. Just
Oh,
shadow Laura for a week and
thanks.
watch what she does.
Oh.
Well, I don't mean to put you on this, but I mean, it's amazing to me whether it's a quilt show at the Art Institute or something at the Writers Museum, or it doesn't matter if you will shine a spotlight on it and
Thanks.
and open your heart to it. And what a different community we would had if people just even did a little of that, a little more. So,
Mm.
it's great to operate out of self interest. I get it. We want to promote our plays, we want to promote our stuff, but let's reach a little higher in 2021.
Thanks, Parker. It means a lot, and for all that you do for us. I mean, I don't know if everyone does. Everyone, I want to make sure everyone's aware of all the things you are doing with the established plays, with the readings, and then with the new work. And now the showcase coming up, which actors can use for their reels if they wish. I mean, you've just done an extraordinary thing. I don't know if anyone's doing all of
I,
this.
I
You're
don't
doing.
know, and I'm like marketer, video editor,
Mhm.
um
All by yourself.
and yeah, woman who needs something other than a COVID cut. You see my headband, right? Because I'm like, still haven't gotten the haircut. So the hats are good, right? Putting on
Mhm.
different hats is good to hide
Yeah, I haven't gone out. I
the
just do it
COVID.
myself, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. But thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
It's been a joy to work through writing like yours and to work with some really generous, open, fascinating people, to have these deep conversations with my actors and really work through the material in this strange environment.
Yes,
But what we have,
especially now.
yeah, but what we have found is that we can still get to something that
Mhm.
it's not the same as live theater, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
And
we're making the
it
most of it. We're doing whatever we can, you know?
we're doing what we can.
Mhm.
And if you're watching this and you're an actor, a playwright, a creative, a lighting designer, a Zoom wizard, please do contact me and we can only grow together. We'll keep doing this until live theater opens. and keep people with their toe in the water with the plays and productions because we're all missing it, and this helps.
Yeah.
So, so next Saturday we will be premiering. Uh, we will be premiering Heart of Fairy by Laura Force Gruggs, who has been kind enough to sit with us today and talk about this wonderful journey that you should take with us next Saturday at 6:30. It will be live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and then if you'd like to be in the room, in the house, just email Laura or me for or message us for a link, a
Hmm.
Zoom link, and then that allows you to hang out afterwards with the actor and playwrights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
laura.e.scruggs@gmail.com, laura.e.scruggs@gmail.com, or parker@fishlickerimprov@gmail.com
You
for
got
a
it.
free link.
And then tonight at 6:30
Mhm.
Central, we're going to bring together four very different plays by four playwrights of the 20th and 19th century. So George Kaufman, Susan Glaspell, A. Milne, and uh, Oscar Wilde. And these may not be plays you've seen.
Mhm.
And they are worth seeing. So we're going to dip into some absurdism, some symbolism, some tragedies, some humor, a little bit of everything
Mhm.
tonight. And we've got, of course, a great cast with Peter Quinones, Angelina Mussro, Jack Levine, Pete Blatchford. I may show up somewhere.
Oh.
I don't actually no. Fortunately, I don't have to. That's right.
Okay.
And Rachel Hirsch, and we'll talk to. We're going to be Rachel is part of something called a play incubation collective out of Northampton, Massachusetts. So
Cool.
she's got a fundraiser next Saturday. We'll be sure and let you know about tonight.
Mhm.
So
For those of you
lots
that
of good
don't know,
stuff.
though, Parker is a
Okay.
spectacular actress as well. So I'm just saying, she stepped in quite recently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, you will get to see yours truly tonight. So I yes. So thank you for that. It's
It's
wonderful to
true.
be able to love the writing, the acting, the directing, um, and those who have the theater bug know it's like why you get up in the morning, right? You get up in the
Mhm.
morning, you start like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna about the scene. I'm gonna work on this character. I'm gonna, I'm this rehearsal. It's just, it's a wonderful addiction
Mhm.
to have.
Yeah.
Well, we will see you tonight in the house, Laura.
Yes, I'll be there.
Yeah. And
Looking forward
anything
to
else
it.
we forgot?
You know, I just wanted to say, last night I saw a really great puppet show on Zoom
Okay.
called Journey Around My Bedroom. It's by the New Ohio Theater,
Okay.
and it's
And
about a
that's worth
kid.
people should see that.
Yeah, it was featured in the New York Times too.
Oh
I
my
heard about it from my
goodness.
friend Nil Serena, and it's about a real explorer, a French explorer, and he had been engaging in a duel. He'd been forbidden to participate in, and so therefore he was put on house arrest. And he explored his bedroom in a new adventurous way. And so this is very,
Wow.
relevant right now, of course. And there's a little girl
Right.
who meets him,
That's
and they go
right.
on adventures together. And there's audience participation, and it was really cute to see all these kids like dancing and
Mhm.
clapping and saying what they thought that
Mhm.
the little girl should do next to help the explorer. And it was
Right.
really cleverly done. It's something that's really well done on Zoom because you can see it close up, and the way they placed the different participants right next to each other and then sometimes on top of each other. It was really cleverly done, very effective.
And people can see the link to that on your Facebook page.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I will post again because yes, I posted when I first got the ticket, and I've been planning on posting again since I've seen it
It
now.
was
But
that good.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna post after this interview so you can
Okay,
see
very
it.
good. So it's called Journey Around My Bedroom and
Yes,
it's produced by which theater?
the New Ohio Theater.
The New Ohio
Hmm.
Theater.
And I
So
will post about it.
it sounds great and it sounds like that's the kind of thing what you just said about how it was a really well suited for Zoom.
Yes.
It's something to give playwrights and creatives food for thought, right? Like
Yeah.
this is what we can do with Zoom that we cannot really do with a
Right.
stage production.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. You're never that close to a puppet show or like a
Right,
flea circus
right,
that I once
right.
saw. That kind of thing. This is really well suited, well
I'd
matched.
like to see it. Yeah, from what you've said, I'd like to see it.
Yeah. I'll
Very
book
cool.
right after this. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you everyone for checking this out in the current moment or whenever
Mhm.
you see it. I hope you'll join us tonight at 6:30 for Famous One Acts and next Saturday, January 9th at 6:30 for Laura's play Heart of Fairy. I hope you have a good day and
Yes.
we'll be talking to you soon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Thanks,
Year.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.